Hello and welcome to Mad Old Goes Racing, and today we are having a look in Automobilista 2 at the latest update, which is version 1.3.3, which has the following content in it. This is the changelog 1.3.2 to 1.3.3.0. I thought it was 1.3.1.1, but I'm sure we're okay. Content tracks, added Road America, part of the Racing USA Part 2 DLC pack. Vehicles, added the Formula USA Gen 3 class featuring the Reynard 2KI and the Lola B2K/00. Part of the Racing USA Part 2 DLC pack. Added Formula Retro Gen 3 class featuring the McLaren MP4-1C, the Formula Retro Gen 3 Turbo and the Formula Retro Gen 3 DFY Aspirated. Added VW Polo GTS and Virtus GTS to the TSI Cup class. They're basically the same sort of cars that was already there, just with a bit more grunt, I believe. Right, enabled G-forces for cockpit camera. Previously G-forces were only enabled for helmet camera. Made the helmet and cockpit cameras orientation change that comes from G-force effect to be scaled by the G-force slider setting. Previously only the camera position change was scaled and not the orientation. Okay, fixed in-game session details, not accounting for session scaling in championship mode and rounding to multiple of 5 in multiplayer. VR camera settings, enabled legacy new head movement toggle for VR users. World movement renamed as head movement. Current user world movement setting will be maintained and converted to an equivalent head movement setting. Enabled camera G-force settings for track IR users. Enabled look to apex and leaning in cockpit camera. Shared memory, updated header to V10. Added tyre temperature, left, middle and right. Ride height, session duration, which previously only available via UDP. Added DRS state, added session additional laps information, extended car flags to include TCS, SCS active state. Latest header, changelog sample project now available in the support directory of the game install. Fixed an issue with Championship Editor which would lead to incorrect Race 2 starting order if both races did not use the same duration type. Added the fallback to find any Race 1 results as the basis for Race 2 in existing save games. Default weather progression for official championships are now synced to race. For some reason this has gone a bit jumpy, my tablet. It keeps, instead of smoothly scrolling, it's jumping. It's making it difficult to read. Fixed an issue where default weather progression for official championship was extremely high. Existing saves will revert to sync to race on load if out of range. Made a brake pedal sensitivity linear by default for most Thrustmaster wheel types. Fixed issue where HUD leaderboard would cut off the local player row in some cases. Fixed stay on drive button state requiring double click a race ready button if a user drove previous session of a multiplayer event. Yeah, it's quite often we've sat there and waited for people to go, come on, oh, I've pressed the button, you've got to press it twice. Yeah, annoying. Hopefully now all fixed. Actual time step is now passed to FFB scripts. What that is, I have no idea. UI and HUD, added front rear tyre selection to quick setup menu. Fixed selected row visual states on game control assignments tab. Added current lap info to position widget HUD in timed races. Fixed in-game camera options screen not correctly hiding VR options. Corrected engine displacement info for Formula Classic Gen 3 models 2 and 3. Physics, minor tyre tread adjustments for Formula Racer, Formula V10, G1, Formula V12, Formula Ultimate, Formula Classics, all gens, Group C, Group A, BMW M1 Pro Car. Added driveline elasticity modelling for cars that still didn't feature it. Lanza Cup, TSI Cup, JCW Mini, Cobra Truck, Formula Ultimate. TSI Cup improved clutch smoothing. Revised wheel spin inertia for all cars, reduced front splitter pitch sensitivity for Group A and Pro car, slightly improved rear wing baseline downforce for Group A cars, disabled now redundant auto clutch forced off in semi-auto F1s, fixes car stalling and with auto clutch set on, adjusted Corvette C3R final drive ratio, further clutch heating wear improvements and adjusted update rate, reinstated auto clutch logic for sequential shifts that do not have auto lift. Updated clutch models to include flash and burst parameters. I presume that's a heating thing. Flash. Burst. Does that mean you've broken your clutch? I don't know. Changed clutches on some cars. All street cars now have clutch damage. Revised F1 driveline inertias, improved sequential F1 shift reliability. Scroll up, please. Added clutch damage and heating model and clutch damage attributes for DP1, GT1, GTE, GT3, C3, C3R, Omega model F1s. Prevented needless auto clutching in clutchless sequentials. Updated default setups for M1 Pro car, Group A, both models, GT3, all models, Corvette C3R, Porsche RSR 1974, Ginetta G40 Cup, G40 GT5, Porsche Cup Stock Car 2021-2022, Mercedes CLK, AJR, all variants, MRX, all variants, Rocco, setup reset recommended, F3s, adjusted engine wear increase with boost settings for Formula Classic turbo engines, and this is reduced default wastegate setting to account for higher engine wear at higher settings. So basically, the higher you boost your turbo, the more likely you are to kill it quickly. So, alright for quality, not for a race. Increased hard-coded radius values for AI detection of corners ahead. By the way, did I say AI? I didn't say AI. AI. This should fix some existing AI logic not triggering in some corners. Add an AI series specific radius check and distance ahead to look at before trying to overtake. Customization per car type still to be implemented. Adjusted AI decision behaviour when an AI driver is attempting to avoid cutting the track and has player vehicle on opposite should prevent some cases of AI hitting player laterally. Added a per weekend based consistency personality logic for AI. AI calibration pass for Formula Classics, all gens. Slightly increased AI side calc range to further reduce chance of AI cars being scared out of the way by player coming up behind it. AI rolling resistance adjustments for GT3, GT4, GTE, P1, P2, P3, P4 and stock cars. Audio, updated crash sound effects. Tracks, updated weather and climate change in European and North American locations to ease transitions in seasonal foliage. So earlier spring, the foliage is still looking dry, early summer still lush green and early autumn still green. Adjusted rolling start and TT start points for Kansai, Monza, Ortana, Silverstone, Snetterton, Spielberg, Velocita, Velo Park, VIR. Watkins Glen added barriers on the bypass road for inner loop layouts. Monza added missing grandstands, add boards, gantries, grounded floating poles at Lesmos in Monza 1991. For Silverstone 1975, add more cones, making pit entrance, pit exit. Adjust a few 3D people, lot adjustments on flags. Ortona fix for out houses, lods. Trim the apex corridors. Daytona updated AI lines and corridors. Updated trackside cameras for Brands Hatch and Caribita. Nürburgring fixed camo 1 clipping. Vehicles Reynard 98i fixed left mirror bug. The amount of people who were complaining because they couldn't see out of a mirror. I can't even see the mirror, never mind see out of it. Added dirt damage texture. Changed rain texture, updated cockpit tyres, BMW M8 GTE, fixed brake disc low issue, McLaren F1 GTR, fixed conflicting number 8 livery, adjusted suspension animations for all Formula USA models. Now, if we scroll back up a bit, there's a bit of information near the top that's probably worth getting out there. I haven't scrolled up far enough. Scrolling. Right, Important notes regarding the updates to the cockpit camera physics. Before version 1.3.3.0, the camera G-force effect was only enabled longitudinally, braking and acceleration, with no lateral G-force effect from corners, or vertically from bumps and suspension movement. Even at 100% G-force setting, we have now added settings for lateral and vertical G-force effects like in AMS1. Before version 1.3.3.0, G-forces, leaning effect and look to apex effects would only work in helmet camera mode. Now these effects apply irrespectively if you're running helmet camera mode or not. So you may notice some difference if you've been running cockpit cam, which we'll see in a minute. As of version 1.3.3.0, TrackII users are able to change the camera G-force. Before version 1.3.3.0, VR and TrackII users were forced to use the SMS legacy camera head movement mode. Now VR and TrackII users can enable our camera head movement mode in the camera settings screen if desired. It allows, for example, for driving to align with the horizon in bank corners like Daytona without having to resort to camera orientation. Note, however, that for existing profiles, your previous VR settings are preserved, so nothing will change for you unless you decide to change it in the camera settings screen. The camera defaults, I might try and get this picture and put it in, so it's actually got a list of what the new defaults are. So look to apex should be on 0 now as a default. So if you create a new profile, you should have no look to apex. I'm pretty sure before it was 50, because I'm pretty sure that's what I seem to have, and I'm just about to go in and change it just so that you can check it yourself. You need to go into options, camera, and then down here you'll have movement. Always if we press all the buttons. Then helmet look to apex. If you want some look to apex, set it to a number. Otherwise, set it to 0. I don't like look to apex. I'm always of the opinion that you look where you want to go, and you go where you look. This is especially true when you're watching people having accidents and you look to see where somebody's gone off and you follow them, and that's because you're going where you're looking. I'm not sure what changes will affect me other than the look to apex, because I don't generally worry too much about G-force effects. I do find they can actually get a bit disorienting. Now let's have a look. We'll just have a look at the cars and the available new stuff. Now these are the 98 cars. The difference between the Gen 2 and Gen 3 is only 2 years, so I don't think there's a huge difference. There's no Swift in the 2000 cars, only the 98 version. For some reason I didn't have the Swift 011.c, I think it is. But they have got the Lola and Reynard chassis. I was trying to find some information to see if there's any major differences. I can't actually see that there are any massive differences, other than the fact the numbers have changed at the end by 2. Even the engines, I mean, trying to find out if there's any major differences. I don't think there are any really big differences. I could check. I think possibly the was it the Honda engines got, and possibly the Toyota's got a bit more grunt now. But you've got in the Lola, Ford Cosworth, Merc and Toyota, no Honda. For the Reynard, you've got the Ford, Honda, Merc and the Toyota. And if I just have a quick look in this showroom, I think if you look, I don't know how accurate it is, but if you look, the Toyota and Honda are 905 horsepower, the others are 800 and something. I didn't mean to press that button, I meant to press that button. How many again, really nicely modelled. I don't know whether they based the colour schemes on anything in particular, or whether they just went for a sort of generic looking scheme, but nicely modelled. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference between the cars, but whether there's some slight weight differences between the engine that's slightly changed the weight distribution, I don't know. We've got weight distribution, so are they all 4654? Whether or not that's accurate is another question, but they're all pretty much of a muchness weight-wise as well. It's possible these need updating, but yeah, 905 and 889, and I think on the 887, 893, yeah, there's a very, very minor difference. Just thinking, what should we go round and have a, we'll choose that. Have a quick look in the showroom at the Lola as opposed to the Reynard. They are slightly different, not massively, but enough. Again, really nicely modelled. I think at this point the cars were fairly much set. I think it was not long before they started going, was it 2003, they went to a single chassis, so it's not far off that. Go with that, and then we'll just have a quick look around Road America, and then we'll have I think a 3-lap race in something else, and see how the, can't see it if I look at it now. Only one layout. There's only 2 layouts in Road America anyway, the road course and the motorcycle course. The motorcycle course is where that little dink bit goes. That was to slow them through the kink, stop them trying to kill themselves. The circuit is basically unchanged since it was first put down in 1955. The only changes have been just the pit lane a couple of times and the addition of that chicane. If you look, I mean, it's what, 4 years older than Snetterton for the layout. Snetterton was opened in 1951. This was opened in 55. Snetterton in the same period has had about 8 layout changes, something like that, from the very long circuit, which was basically the part of the perimeter with the runways, through the short circuit, changes to the short circuit, and then the major revamp in 2011 or whatever it was. Right, let's have a slowish drive round. See if I can find the right button to that one. There's one in here somewhere. Nah, probably don't want to go. Shall I see if I can control K and move up a bit? No, not that one. That one. Get a bit more of an aerial view. How far up can you go? I like the way it says up 1.0 and it carries on. That'll do. Right, get rid of the HUD. De-HUDed. Try not to stall it. Now, I've done a couple of laps just to have a look around, and I have to say it is really, really nicely modelled. I'll try not to hit the wall on the way out. The default date, I think, is the 1st of October, so it's just going into autumn, and lovely tree colours. Is there a gap underneath that building over there? We'll ignore that. There's a gap under the building over there. Don't look, don't look, don't look. But yes, I have to say it is a really, really nicely done version of Road America, and Good variation in trees. This time of year is actually really pretty around here. For those that don't know where it is, if you go to Chicago, which is the bottom of Lake Michigan, and drive up the coast around the western side of Lake Michigan for about 150 miles, you get to a place called Sheboygan, which is a name from whatever the local Indian tribe were. I can't remember what they were now. And I can't remember what Sheboygan actually means, but it's a strange name. It's about 10 miles inland from there. And the reason I know where Sheboygan is because I went and worked there 3 times in 2001. Bizarrely, I took a trip there in July, and it was all, hello, welcome to the United States, have a wonderful time. And then I went, I think it was very late September 2001, and basically as soon as you got anywhere near anybody, they threatened to kill you by the way they reacted. And the reason for that was 9/11, and that was like 2 weeks after 9/11 I went there, and the change in attitude was stunning, to put it bluntly. I mean, I literally had a pair of boots on that had little metal eyelets for where the laces went up, and because they got metal in it, they insisted I took them off and put them through the scanner. But yes, but again, really nice, lots of detail. I'd have to check to see whether or not there's like leaves on the ground. Wisconsin's famous for its cheese, and if you've been on the forums, Razor forums lately, you'll say there's a lot of talk about cheese. It's all a bit mad, but yeah, there's plenty of road noise. I have to say, I can feel you can probably see it vibrating as well, but probably should have turned off all the camera shaking and everything else. But very nice. Plenty of a bit of a lump in the road there where that patch of tarmac was. It's like the tarmac was about that much lower than the other bit, you know, as we went through it. This is always a bit of a tricky approach over here because you're coming over a slight browse. You're coming to the point where you want the brake, and depending upon what you're in, you're either braking, if you're in a car with really dodgy brakes, just before the brow or just after it, so you're going to get the car going very light. You can see there's a tunnel over there under the track, I think. Plenty of attention to detail with sort of little bleachers up there. Presumably all genuinely there, I assume. I didn't actually get the opportunity whilst I was in the States to go to Road America, but I would have done it if I had the opportunity, put it that way. It is one of my favourite circuits in the States, I think. I think it's one of those, it's a nice layout, it's got no ridiculously slow corners on it, there's no silly little chicanes that are too tight, there's no horrible hairpins that you run out of steering lock trying to get around. It's just nicely flowing. I think there's a karting track on the infield over there. Again, it's one of those you look at it and go, ooh, they should make that part of the game. And because places like Spa has got a kart track, which if you look in Project Cars 2, it's actually got that kart track, but it's actually officially in Ireland. Bizarrely, yes. But yeah, nice little kart track. I'll have to get the aerial map out and have a look, see what the layout is. But coming out, this is one of the tighter corners on the track, probably. It's quite easy to outbrake yourself going down that little bit of hill there, and all of the exit curbs are all nice and wide, a bit bumpy, not too bad. They're certainly reasonably flat with a track surface, unlike in other implementations. Through the Speedville Bridge, and when I say through it, I mean, yeah, we're going through it. Probably should have lowered the car a little bit on the camera a little bit. Hello. wave to the marshals. Don't get stuck in the pit on the outside. It'll take you a while to get out. Getting really nice detailing on the track. I'm assuming it's made out of concrete sections and then tarmacked over, hence the somewhat rectangular sections. Try and get the power down as early as possible coming out of here, get a good run down out of the carousel, which is a very iconic corner, and down towards the kink, which is where, oh, who was it? I've forgotten her name. Young lady had a huge accident in IndyCar. It wasn't Pippa Man, was it? Was it Pippa Man? Oh, no, it wasn't Pippa Man. I'll have to see if I remember to look it up and check who it was. But that was a huge accident, and she was very fortunate to walk away from it. This is the bus stop they added for the bikes. Obviously, motorcycles and tyre walls stroke barriers don't go together too well, so they decided they'd better put something in to give them a bit more safety. I can't remember when that was put in. Was it early 2000s? Yeah, I think I should have turned off the G-force effect or something, because they're making everything wobble. Through the kink, which you need a good front end to get round. Certain cars you'll be on the grass all over the place over there. Yep, bit of a lumpy curb, but again, all nicely modelled. Even got a concrete wall with a section Armco on top of it, which is novel. Is that because there's actually a concrete wall in front of an Armco? Yeah, it is. How strange. You've got an Armco barrier with a concrete wall in front of it. Assuming that genuinely is concrete and not, I'm assuming that's what it is. I'll have to crash into it and test it. But yeah, whether they put that in later, earlier. It's weird things when you don't see it when you're driving around racing, but you sort of have a look and see things and thinking, why did they do that? It's quite an interesting braking approach, trying to work out brake at the 300, 400 feet markers. They're not meters, they're feet. And again, it's another one of these tricky little corners where there's plenty of runoff, but if you get sort of tapped into the sand on the outside, you're going to be a bit stuck, because it's AMS2 sticky sand. Again, you can run nice and wide on the exit here, and that's definitely a lot of camera movement. I presume it won't look as bad if your camera's right down there, because I'm assuming it's tight to the car, so it's swinging about like a dick in the breeze. Don't know what the building is over there. Don't know if it's a genuine advert for anything, or whether it's one of these made up ones. But, again, whenever you're running over this bit here, run the curb, try not to get on the grass. I don't know if they actually ever use that sort of joining road for anything, because there's an Armco in the way, or there's barriers in the way, but whether it was ever used at any point, I don't know. There's the exit tunnel, goes under here to get in and out of the circuit by the looks of it. And round the final corner, which again you want to be concentrating as much as possible on getting a really good exit. Run the curb on the outside. And pit entry. You should be able to brake really late for the line for the pit entry because it's uphill, and uphill gravity is helping you to slow down, so leave it as late as possible, but try not to leave it too late. Going uphill a bit, I need a bit of throttle. Again, arm coat, concrete wall. Strange. Duck! No, didn't work. I don't know if they borrowed any of the assets from Project Cast 2 or whether they've done all this from scratch, but certainly the road surface itself and the layout is definitely all, I believe, all scanned for all the new stuff. So nice looking building, and over the start finish line we go for a very, very slow lap, but it is really nicely done, and I have to say it's a really nice looking circuit, and I will enjoy driving around it for many years to come, I'm sure. But for now, let's get out of here, and can I get the right button? Oh, I got the right button. What I'll do, I think, is we'll try one of the new Formula 1 cars, like the McLaren, and we'll do something daft like a 3-lap race around Road America and just see if this is any good. For some reason I got 3 laps anyway. It's obviously doing something silly earlier. Formula Retro Gen 3 DFY, I keep calling it DFV, it's a DFY Cosworth engine. That's the, I'm pretty sure that's based on the 1980-ish Renault, probably, because did Ferrari have the V6 turbo by 1980-ish, which is when the MP4 1C was about. This MP4 1, I think, was the first carbon monocoque, which is why it deserves a bit of a place in history, like all these things. What are we looking for? Road America. I'm going to America. Default date, 1st the 10th, standing start. Don't want a mandatory pit stop. Why have I got a mandatory pit stop? Live track, default progressing. Do I want to just, oh my god. We'll go with some heavy rubber. That'll do. I've got no idea what this is going to be like. Should I try my H pattern? I think I might just use my paddles. Still not 100% sure on this set of pedals we're trying to do this. What I'll do is I don't want to be sitting there. Wrong button. Let's get in the car. Good start to the race, eh? Brakes are a bit sharp. Auto clutch is not auto blipping and everything. Where do I brake? Oh, too early. Probably didn't want to go down first for that, or whatever. Definitely feels like it's trying to rotate a lot on power. Not quite easy to lock. Yeah, definitely a bit too much rotation on power, I think. Just felt like I had to lift there because I don't think the front end's quite sticking. Give it a little bit snatchy on the brakes. Oh. Definitely a car you're going to have to, I think, tweak a little bit. Yeah, definitely a bit of over rotation. Either I need to work out how to drive it, or I need to work out how to change probably the diff settings a little bit. Oh, that's a bit lumpy, the inside curve. First too low, second's too high, so feels like it's got a bit too much rotation when you turn in as well, so obviously needs a little bit of work. I don't know if this has actually had a final setup done on it yet. Feel the front end trying to get away and the rear end trying to get away. It's all over the place. Oh, that is decidedly sketchy through there. Going, is it going to grip or not? Oh, it's a hell of a bump. Right on the apex, yeah, it's different. Oh, that's weird. That time it understeered. Whether that's just slightly different tarmac. I don't know whether they got a different grip for the different pieces of tarmac or not. Final lap. Probably carried a bit more speed through there. Could do with some brake markers on the inside of the corner as well as the outside. Lumpy. Maybe I just changed down too early in the first lap. Come on, car, stop rotating quite so much on power, and then you do want it to rotate on power, and yep. I can't decide if it's rotating too much, not enough, too much, not enough. Doing a clutch engaging a bit quicker for when you're using a paddle shift instead of an H pattern, but yeah, definitely feels like it's got a little bit of understeer mid to exit of that corner. Whether it's just a strange bit of camber or what, I don't know. And there you have it, 3 laps. 58.4. Is that a good lap? I don't know. How does that compare with a GT3? GT3's about 2 minute 10 round here. Not sure. I did try the IndyCar around here and I was doing a 42, was it? 1 minute 42? It was a lot quicker anyway, the 2000 spec. And it was definitely a lot quicker around here. So let's skip the cool down, and what I'll do is I will view the replay, and I'll record the replay as well in a while, and I'll put it up in the corner, so we'll have a replay in the corner, but then you'll have just been watching it and you'll see there's a replay in the corner, so there's no point in me telling you at the moment, is there? But as I say, the additional Indy cars are welcome. I don't think there's going to be a huge performance difference between the 2000 and the 98 versions. They certainly don't look a lot different. I can't find any information to say whether or not there was any major difference. Better make sure I save the replay. I don't think there's a huge difference. I don't know whether the 95, I think it's the 95 season is the Gen 1 when they get released. Don't know how much difference there'll be in that as well. But you would think over a 5-year period there wouldn't be a huge amount of changes. I don't think there was that many differences over that period. So who knows? We'll find out. Choice is always good though. And I have to say, Road America, this is a really, really nice version of Road America. Certainly better than most other versions of it. It's, like I said, one of my all-time favourite American tracks, just because I like fast open circuits. Doesn't mean I'm any good at them, but I like fast open circuits. So, enjoy racing around there. I will. I hope you will. I think there's a few other minor things you might need to look at. Don't forget, probably want to delete all your setups before you start doing too much as well. And I look forward to having a go at a bit of IndyCar round Long Beach in a couple of days' time. Oh, it's going to be horrendous, bumpy as hell. Well, if you haven't tried the IndyCars around Long Beach, it's worth it just to see just how much hard work it is to race around there, and that's without all the G-force. This is just wrestling in the steering wheel. So that's the 1.3.3 update. Enjoy it. There's apparently some really good changes to the AI as well, so if you're a solo player rather than an online player, you should find those good changes. I keep meaning to actually do a bit of a look at the AI. Might get round to it maybe Friday, although there are some other things to look at in the meantime, like the race room updates with Indianapolis and Daytona coming out on R-Factor 2, which when it comes out I will buy it and have a look at it, because I quite like Daytona, and they will have the oval as well apparently. So from me, that's enough waffle for now, and enjoy your racing, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Where's my button?